Anything else you want to tell the people out there?
Oh, please don't do drugs.
You heard it here first.
Millie makes songs, hey, I made this one. Jerry builds bikes and they go real fast. They're mental defectives.
Welcome to the Mental Defectives podcast, a show where we interview interesting individuals with a focus on addiction and mental health. I'm your host, Millie Graham. That's Millie if you know me, Mr. Graham if you know me. Joined, as always, by the Hellfire Club of Harleys.
Nice.
The gear...
I know.
The gearhead with the heart of gold. It's Mr. Jerry with a G.
Glad to be here.
And today...
Hold on. You should hit that like and subscribe button if you dig what we do.
Mental Defectives podcast, wherever you get your social media, because that's where we is. Mental Defectives podcast, because today... It's an extremely special episode. This is the Mother's Day special. And we're definitely already regretting this, but we did Valentine's Day, so here's Mother's Day.
Yep.
And first up, we have an extremely special guest. She's a master gardener and quilt knitter who you can see on billboards all over town. A day one Mental Defective super fan. Please welcome Jerry's mom, Mary. Mary, how's it going?
Good. Real good.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. Mary, where are you from?
Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
Or Galloway, yeah.
And what was it like raising young Gerald here?
Well, number one, he was the prince, the firstborn child.
Oh, yeah.
Always. Good. It was good. Grade school, high school, things started going a little sideways, but that was the time. That was the time when things went sideways.
And what was your initial reaction to that when that started? Because my mom always likes to say there's no handbook on raising children.
There isn't.
Yeah.
There isn't. Well, honestly, we didn't know the extent of, at first it's drinking and that kind of stuff, but it progressed into different things. Well, actually pills in high school, pills in high school, and then drinking, but we really didn't know the extent of how far he was. So.
Yeah, in high school it was just weekend drinking is all you really knew.
That's all I knew.
Yeah.
And and you never think your kid's going to become an addict. And we did it. We did it every weekend too when we were in high school.
You weren't snorting pills in the
No,
bathroom.
I was not. I was not. And we really weren't concerned at that time. But as things, probably 19, 20 years old, it's like we couldn't figure out why he couldn't make a rational decision. It's like, what is going on here? And, we just kind of lived with it. But it progressed quickly. Yeah, it did.
What did that progression look like? Or from...
What did it look like? So, you see signs that, he's nodding off, those kind of things. Jerry, are you okay? I'm just tired, Mom. I'm just tired. And I believed it, and then I don't know how long that went on, but it was hard to watch. It was hard to watch when it's your kid, and it's like, what do I do?
Yeah. And
then once you do find out, it's like it scares you to death. He comes over, and you think, is it the last time I'm ever going to see him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
And had you had anyone in your life prior to Jerry that you knew that had a substance abuse problem or alcohol problem or was in recovery or anything like that?
No.
Okay, so you guys are flying in completely blind.
Yes.
Okay.
Completely blind.
Yeah.
Completely blind. We had no idea what was happening.
What I was learning, in recovery, that's when you guys were learning.
Yes.
Right?
The first time.
The first time, yeah.
We were kind of getting it.
Yeah, that was the tip of the iceberg was the first time.
Right. But and when you were in rehab the first time, you think, oh, this finally is going to be over with. Every single time.
As it
The
turns
naive
out.
of the ignorance of just not knowing how
Right.
stuff works.
But I was so happy. I was so excited this is going to end. But we had 2 more times to go through it.
That's not bad. We've had
Yeah, that's
people on the show that have done 15, 20 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
anytime we've had a guest on, they're like, and then I went to treatment, and that was the last time I drank. We're like, you're a one
What?
and done? Like,
Yes.
that's a rare.
It is
It
rare.
is.
Yeah.
that's a rare,
Yeah.
rare occurrence for us.
Yeah.
And that first time, like, of Jerry going to treatment, is that, like you and your family pushing him in? Was that like legal consequences, or what was the mitigating factor to get him in there the first time?
It wasn't legal. No. You wanted to go, right?
the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I went in on for myself, but that was when you walked in on me.
Oh, yes.
Snorting a line off of the desk, and it was just
I
all
went
bad.
in to wake him up in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, "What are you doing?" And he was by the dresser.
Yeah.
And I'm just blowing my nose. And I see all this white powder. And I almost went, thank God I didn't.
Yeah,
Thank
right.
God I didn't. And that day you called me so many times. I was out of my mind.
I know.
Out of my mind, because I knew something was
It's all bad.
really, yes,
Yeah.
it was all bad. All bad.
Yeah. But that was the first time. But then I came home and I was like, that was the first time that I admitted out loud
Yes.
that I need help. Like I can't
don't know
do
what
this
to do.
myself. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Right.
But yeah, that was the first time I went to detox
At
and then
Parkside.
treatment. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah. So that was, I mean, it was good. It was a good experience, you know?
Yes, it was.
But I wasn't ready to admit that I was an alcoholic. Like my counselor told me, like, I think you're an alcoholic. I'm like, no, I'm a fucking drug addict. Like that's my problem.
Back when we're still splitting hairs, like
Yeah,
like it's
right,
matters,
right.
you know?
Like exactly.
Yeah.
So I was still kind of hung up on that, and that's really even no excuse, right? I mean, I got into a sober house and decided to,
Then it
do
took
some
off again.
pills and,
it
you know,
it took off again.
and that cycle continued for another couple of years. And
Yes.
And was that like, you mean when we just like don't know like how to deal with an addict or an alcoholic? Like you were saying, like, oh, he went to treatment and like, awesome, we're done. Like
That's what I
You know, it's
thought.
like you break your arm, you go
Right.
to the ER, they put you in a cast,
Right.
problem solved.
Right.
What was that like having him go into treatment like a second time? Did you still have that like, okay, this time is the time we're gonna do it, or?
You know, I really didn't think about it. It's like your heart just stops. It just about kills you because you don't want your kid to die.
Yeah.
That is the bottom line. That is the bottom line. It's so scary. So scary. Did a
Yeah.
lot of praying.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's got to be such a unique form of like powerlessness, because I think the closest
There's
like
nothing you can do.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like, as we don't have kids, I think the closest we can come to that is maybe like a sponsee going back out,
Right.
and like
Yes.
you feel for them and you care about them, but it's not a child.
No.
Yeah,
no,
there's
no,
nothing
no.
close
No.
to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But
And then how about the last round going through treatment? Because that was the 6-month
yeah.
inpatient one you did. And we're gonna try and
Yes.
go one episode without name dropping.
Yeah, right. Right.
The last one was a good one.
It was.
It was a good one because Jerry was on his way to work and he called me and he said, I'm so sick. I'm so sick. I said, you need to call off work and come over. And I can. I'm the only one working. I said, call him and come over. And I knew what was going on because I had been through it before. And he laid on my couch detoxing, which was a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. But I thought, I've got to be really strong for this. And I let him lay on the couch. You couldn't touch him. You know, I put a blanket on him. It's something you've never seen before.
Yeah.
But I've always had, can I say Parkside?
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay. On speed dial. I had Parkside on speed dial and I thought, I'm going to call him. But it took some time for you to get to that point. Because I kept saying, are you ready to go? Are you ready to go? And I don't know how many hours, 3-4 hours, half the morning.
Yeah.
And finally I called and they were so good there. So good. And she said, the counselor, whoever's supposed to call, you know, to try and, if they had a bed, she'll be here in 15 minutes and I'll call you back. And she did. And I thought, thank God, thank God. And that was good. When you went to Parkside the third time, but when we left the house, when it was time to go, Jer said, I can drive myself. My car's here. I'll just drive. And I thought,
I'm still trying.
No.
I was still trying. Yeah.
And by now you've learned.
I've learned. I thought,
Very
no
good.
way. I said, no, Jer, I'll drive and I'll stop and get you cigarettes or, whatever
right.
you want. But that was good. He was out of his mind mad. He was so mad.
Yeah.
But I knew it was, the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. So, and it's
And
hard.
the fucked up
It's
thing
hard.
is, like, deep down, I knew it was the right thing to do, too.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready to give it up.
No.
I wasn't ready.
You were
Even
mad.
after all of that shit.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the death throes of like the active addiction. Like, you're super pissed about like
And
such a
sick.
small thing. Like, I'm going to drive myself versus you driving me.
he was going to go get high.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Yes. And you said that's the only time you went to Parkside or detox.
Not high.
Not high.
Yeah. The other 2 times, I was higher than a kite.
Right.
This time, I was actually detoxing.
Yes, you were.
Yeah.
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 So.
And a callback to the Valentine's episode. At this point, Jen had kicked you to the curb,
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
but then she was still in contact with you.
Yes. She was great. Great. Absolutely great. Yes. Yes. So did you meet her? Were you dating her when you went into Parkside?
No,
No.
she broke up with me before that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Jen, is the smartest woman ever. The only one that ever broke up with him. She knew. She knew. Smart woman. Smart woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
The Mental Defectives podcast is brought to you by Milligram's new EP, More Is Always Better. 6 electrifying tracks available on all streaming platforms. So yeah,
Yes.
I went into Parkside and did my little deal there and then went to the long-term treatment. And that's when, because you and I talked quite a bit there.
Yes.
And you were like, hey, Jen wants to get a hold of you. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
And
But-
you were good. You were doing what they told you to do.
Yeah.
And you knew that things could go sideways if you
Well,
got back with Jen.
I knew that if I didn't take care of what I needed to, that I'm going to be a shit boyfriend regardless,
Right.
So
Yeah.
I need to focus on that. But
Yeah.
we still wrote letters.
It's just, yeah.
And then how like early into that process of going to Parkside the last time did you start to see, because they always say we can see the change in others before we can see it in ourselves. Like, was that something, like when did you first kind of see that change? Or maybe
When he was in Parkside, we went in.
or was it after Parkside?
We went in for, what is it? Some kind of a visit,
Like a family
A
visit or
family
something.
visit, and I could tell because there was what James was, Jim?
Like a tech.
A tech.
Yeah.
And he pretty much told Jerry, your life is fucked up. You need to go to the House of Hope
Yeah.
and do what they say and all of that. And I thought, something changed with Jerry, and I knew it. But you're still apprehensive.
Yeah.
Still apprehensive about him going. But there was a change in him. So that was good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you were on board with the 6-month long term.
Oh, yes.
I'm just always surprised. Like we've interviewed people or we've talked to people, and not even necessarily like a broken home where they're not like in contact with their parents, but just like parents that just don't get it or think like not prioritize it.
Yes.
So that's why I ask, because it's just interesting to.
That's when a change happened the third time at Parkside. If we didn't care or, just didn't, Jerry's got his own life. He's old enough to figure this out. And we stepped aside and we didn't have anything to do with him. It would have devastated him.
Absolutely.
It would have devastated him. So you just can't give up. You can't.
And
Can't give up.
where is that line between like I can't give up and I'm like enabling or Or do you even know where that is? Like, is
How
there
do you
even a line that
define that,
exists?
right?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a rough one.
That's a rough one.
That's
That's
a
a
rough
hard
one.
one to.
That's really hard as a parent. Because there are times when I was an enabler, but I would enable and then I would get mad at myself. You know, what are you doing? What are you doing? He needs gas. You know, I would never give him money.
Smart.
I would meet him at the gas station and, you know, get him some gas. So I wasn't doing that. But still, I was still enabling him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true. And then you took the house keys. You did
Took
that.
the house keys,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
we
They
weren't
even
having
did
it.
an intervention on me once.
Oh
Nice.
yes,
Yeah, they did
that
an
was
intervention
after
on
the
me.
first.
That was like the second time I went in.
Was it the second
I
time?
think so.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can I tell that story?
If you would like.
now I would. I but y'all, I want to hear it.
Yeah, we were sitting at the kitchen.
Yeah.
We were smoking
Uh-huh.
in the under the
hood vent.
the hood
Yeah.
vent. Under the hood vent. And Jerry moved his his sleeves up or whatever it was hot inside. And I thought, what the hell? And I knew right away he was shooting up. Scared me to death. Scared me to death. So I called everybody I knew to have people who really cared about you.
Yes, they did.
Really, really cared
Yeah.
about you. And they came over to the house, or they said, "Can you get Jerry to your house?" And I thought, "Yeah, I probably can." And they got there before Jerry did, and Jerry saw their cars. He knew who was there, but he came in anyway. You know, that was good. That was good. Came in anyway.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So
Was our producer Chris there for that one?
no,
Mom.
no,
Mom.
no.
We had a
Yeah, there was a
separate-
there was
yeah.
a separation. Yeah.
Yeah.
That checks out.
I went one way, he went the
another.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
checks out.
Yeah.
we're back.
Yes.
And now we're back.
And then so then Jerry gets out of Parkside, or the long term
Yes.
treatment place, and then
Yes.
what's that kind of period of like? Because then it's one thing your kid he's in jail, he's in treatment, he's safe.
Yes.
But then he gets out.
Yes, and that's scary too. That's scary too when they go to sober living. You're just scared inside. You're just so scared because now he's free. He's free to come and go and do whatever he wants. But it worked, and the sober house that he was in. I brought something over to Jerry or whatever, and you walked in, and this house was fabulous. Fabulous. A nice house that I would want to live in. Before, when he went into sober living, they were like trap houses. Or living right next door to trap houses, which didn't work.
Yeah.
Which didn't work. So the House of Hope really had it
Yeah.
going on. They gave the guys confidence and how to live their life, how to be a man. So it was great. It was great. So after sober living, you were there for
Like 9 months, 10
Yeah.
months.
yeah,
And then moved out with Jen.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it worked out.
And then how did you two end up on billboards? So if you're watching on YouTube and you've been around Columbus, you might recognize Mary from a billboard.
yes, it was a thing with the House of Hope, an advertisement.
An
or a-
advertisement.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my old boss was in charge of, this new advertisement
yeah.
deal that they got going on at the House of Hope, and he asked me if I'd like to be on a billboard with Mom. And
Well, it was a photo shoot first.
well, it was a photo shoot first.
Right,
Yeah,
and
that's
they were
right.
gonna put
It was
it
going to
in-
be in a pamphlet.
It was going to be in a pamphlet.
They didn't
yes.
tell us about the fucking billboards.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We thought it was a
Okay.
pamphlet at first.
Yes, and I thought, oh, that's cool,
Yeah, that's
So-
that's a much easier
yeah, but
Thing to swallow.
Yeah.
yeah. But those billboards, I need my glasses on because it doesn't look like me. Not that it's all about me, but yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's how we
it
did
was
that.
neat. It was.
Yeah.
It's weird seeing yourself on a billboard,
It's very
especially for
strange.
rehab.
Very strange.
Yeah.
But you look at it and you think, wow.
I've had people
How
that
far you've come.
yeah,
Yes.
that I went to high school with that I don't really talk to. They're like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing!" Shoot me a message on Facebook or
Yeah.
something. It's pretty neat.
Pretty cool.
Hell yeah. And during this process, did you ever go to like the sister program of meetings for loved ones of addicts or alcoholics?
I did.
Oh, nice.
I did. I thought I got to figure out what's going on with this kid, and how this works. I didn't know. So I went to, what can I say?
listen,
Yes.
The
place where you
Yeah,
go, a
yeah,
parent goes
yeah.
to figure out what
Yeah.
your bad kid,
Yeah, there you
what
go.
your bad kid
Yeah,
is doing.
yeah.
So I go and I found where there was a meeting,
Yeah.
and I walked in, and you go to the meeting, and everybody's standing outside smoking. That's what you do. And then we went down in the cafeteria of this church, and there was a ton of people there, and I thought, oh gosh, this is good. These are all parents trying to figure out, or deal with your kid that's addicted. And I sat down, and somebody got up and said, is it the Serenity?
Yeah. The Serenity Prayer.
So I thought, this is good. We're going to pray.
Yeah.
They started saying their name. Did they stand? They don't stand up.
Usually
just
not.
Say their name, and I'm an alcoholic. And then they kept going. There was probably 30 people there, and it
Sounds
kept,
like you went to the wrong meeting.
no.
Listen to
It
this.
kept going, and everybody. I'm an alcoholic. And then it just kept going, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I going to say when they get to me? Because I was sitting around the table, and I said, it got to me, and I thought, shit, because I'm real shy. I said, my name's Mary Martin, and I'm not an alcoholic. I think I'm at the wrong meeting. And they all started laughing. The nicest people ever.
Yeah.
Ever. And they said, you need to go upstairs. They showed me where to go. And so that was
Yeah,
pretty
that's
cool.
good.
Oh my
Pretty
God.
cool. Yeah.
And then when you made it into the right meeting,
Yes.
Was that something you found helpful or like kept up with or?
I did not keep up with it. I went to maybe 5 meetings, and I felt like I need to do this on my own, in my own way. So it was helpful, going through the book and stuff, but I didn't. I didn't keep up with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Jerry gets out of House of Hope. You guys are plastered on billboards and bus stops all over town.
benches.
Yes.
Park benches.
Yeah.
And then what was that time when he's out of all the programs and stuff, and that like say like first year or two of sobriety, like after he's moved in with Jen, and like how long does it take for that, like, so in some of our literature it says like 10 or 20 years of drunkenness will make a skeptic out of anyone. Like is it like a slow process of like over months or years? It's like, okay, like I can
breathe now.
I can breathe, I can stop worrying. Is it like there's like one instantaneous event that you're like, oh shit, he's got it together? Like,
I don't think it ever goes away, to be honest with you. I don't think it ever goes away. Yeah.
and I wonder if that's like,
It eases up. Eases up, but the thought never goes away. It never goes away. In my experience.
Sure.
interesting.
Yeah.
And then what is life like with Jerry today?
Oh, perfect.
You don't have to lie
Yeah,
to
right.
us now.
Good. It's good. He's got a wonderful, beautiful wife and 3 dogs.
Yep.
It's great. Changed. Totally changed person. Totally changed.
Yeah.
His outlook on life. Just everything. Everything. It's really good.
Yeah.
And then what do you think of the podcast?
I love
I
it.
know what you think of the podcast,
Yes, I love it. What a great idea. What to get the perspective of addicts and what they've gone through, and then the wives and the moms, and I think it's great. It's really great. Very informative.
Yeah, and I was just telling my mom this the other day about like, I know the podcast is working because like Chris, our producer, my mom, my wife, they have like such like interesting perspective. They'll watch the episodes and have like a totally different
Take on it
than
Than we
Jerry
do.
and I.
Yes.
And it's like we've been doing this so long. It's just like doing sobriety so long. It's just like second nature, and we don't.
Yes.
I don't always think like how other people
Would
like-
perceive it, or yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's great. I think, the more that people know about it, a lot of people don't understand addiction. Very, very helpful. Because if you don't know what it's about, I didn't know. But it's very informative. The podcast is very informative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you're always.
Always.
You have an alarm set, don't you?
Every Wednesday.
She does.
Every Wednesday at
Wednesdays at
noon.
noon Eastern. Every other Wednesday at noon Eastern, we're out
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I have an alarm on my phone,
here. Yeah.
so I don't miss it.
And I even remember too, I got like a really nice message from you one day. I'm like, who the hell is this? Like, this is Jerry's mom. And then, like you came over next, like, did my mom text you? Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Too funny.
Yep.
And then Mary, what advice would you have for parents dealing with a child in active addiction or in sobriety, I guess?
Active addiction is, the advice is just pray. That's, because I was not in control. I couldn't control the situation. I couldn't do anything, for Jerry, or, when they were a kid, you can bring them in and, help fix them. But this, we couldn't fix it. We could not fix it. What was your other question?
Oh, and then advice for like
Parents. Yes. That's hard because I've had to do that before, and every situation's different, depending on the length of time, and it's hard to talk to another parent whose son or daughter is in active addiction. Because I remember being there, and then they go into rehab, and you think, this is it. It's the ups and downs and ups and downs. Don't ever give up. You can't ever give up. Ever, ever, ever. That's my advice to parents.
Yeah.
You can't give up. Even though it's so hard, but don't give up.
I like it.
Yep.
She never did.
No.
And now you're a successful podcast co-host.
Yeah,
Look at that.
Right. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mom. I appreciate you coming on. Here for us.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, thanks for having me. This was nice.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, stay tuned because up next is my mom, who is also Mary, and we'll be right back with that one. So, Mary, thank you so much for
You're
coming on. We
welcome.
appreciate
Thank
it. The Minnesota Defectives podcast is brought to you by Ride Sober, an online community for sober bikers.
At RideXSober on social media and RideXSober.com.
Check them out today for apparel like t-shirts, hoodies, hats, riding gloves, and garage banners.
Ride sober, boldly sober.
Boldly sober. Welcome back to the Mother's Day special. Milligram and Jerry still here. And now time for our second extremely special guest. She's a world-renowned traveler and master chef who can be spotted volunteering all over town. Another Day One Mental Defective super fan. Please welcome my mother, also Mary. Mom, how's it going?
Wonderful, and I am thrilled to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. And Mom, where are you from?
Well, the west side of Columbus.
West Side.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
Hilltop.
Yes.
All right.
And what was it like raising me, the perfect child?
Yes, you were our favorite son, and it was.
I'm the only son. It doesn't,
Yeah,
it doesn't
right.
mean a whole lot.
But doesn't it sound better being called the favorite
It
than
does.
the only?
It absolutely
Yes.
does.
Yes.
Yes. He was very easy child in the when he was young. Yes. Except he was a runner.
Okay.
As a runner,
Yes. You know the first time he came home in a police car?
I was 2.
2 years old.
in the back seat.
Oh, well, if that's not foreshadowing, I don't know what is.
I know.
Damn.
I went down to the playground or something, or what?
He was chasing a bunny down the street.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Chasing tail.
But
Figures.
he was quick getting around that corner. But we found him. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Good times.
And then what was it like when I first started drinking and doing drugs and stuff?
Well, that was bad. Yeah. One time we had the plumber over and he had to do something with the water, the main water thing where it comes in your house. Okay. And so he opened up the little door. That whole thing was full of beer cans.
Oh, man, that's
And-
great.
Yeah, and then he came up to get me to bring me down to see it, and then we have the crawl space,
Yeah.
where the boogeyman lives, and then he had the screen off of that. There must have been about 5 of the great big huge trash cans. Full of beer cans. But it didn't happen at our house. I don't know why you didn't dump them out at a Burger King or something, McDonald's.
I don't know.
And
When was this in like high school?
Oh, yeah.
High school? Were you
Yeah.
drinking at home by yourself at that point?
No.
No, it was
well,
just.
it wasn't during that many. That was a couple hundred or something. It was a lot. And we didn't even recycle it.
Oh, shit.
The most cardinal sin of
Right,
all.
that's the worst part.
Oh, Jesus. What I remember is you being on my case early on.
I know. And we went to Parkside. Is it still?
Yeah, it's still over there. Mhm.
Oh, okay. Well, we went to Parkside, and you had a counselor, and you met. I was in the room with you, and I said, "Well, I think he's a addict," to the counselor. And Matt goes, "I'm not an addict." And then the guy asked Matt, "Well, what does an addict look like?" He said, "Some old drunk on the street corner," and.
I don't remember any of this.
Oh, trust me, it happened. It happened. But then I don't know how many times you went there, and then one time you went and stayed for a weekend, and you had like a 50-year-old doctor as your roommate.
So the first time I did like a adolescent outpatient thing, and that's when I was like 16 or something.
And that was
Yeah.
at Parkside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, this is
Yeah.
Yeah,
going back,
yeah,
like,
some
way back
years.
then.
Yeah.
Old ass man.
And then and then I went back at like 18 or 19, and that was like a 10-day inpatient thing.
Yeah, but I think that was still before Gatehouse, so yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what was like the reason for the first time he went in to an inpatient rehab? What was that like? What was the reason for that?
I came downstairs one day, and you know how you had that computer table in the bay? Okay. And he's there chopping up pills.
It sounds familiar.
And
It does.
He says it's Tylenol, and
Oh,
he has
dude.
a headache. And I said, well, it doesn't say on the bottle to snort it. And he goes, it gets in your blood
bloodstream quicker.
But then he's always complaining his eyes are dry. And I said, well, probably from snorting it makes your eyes dry just to try to get them.
Told your mother you were snorting.
Bro, I don't remember. As you can
Yeah.
see, I was
Yeah,
not
right.
in tune with reality at the
No
time.
shit.
No, and
Yeah.
I was stupid to think, well, maybe it is Tylenol.
Had Tylenol in it.
Yeah.
And then, because there's no like alcoholism in your side of the family, really. Like, there's no one to point to say like, oh, this is
No.
someone that's
No.
active in addiction or in recovery or something.
Right.
And even on like dad's side of the family,
Well, that was all hidden back in the day.
yeah,
But it was there strong.
yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to friend of the show, Uncle Mike.
Yeah.
Yes.
And did that set like a, I guess like misleading precedent to you guys of like, oh, well, like Mike used to drink like crazy and then he just stopped one day and now he's fine. And that's how it works, or?
No. And I think it's different like than that. I mean, when you and Kate were little, you both had your school uniforms on, sitting, eating breakfast, and your dad was getting ready to go to work. And we were talking about something, and I said to you and Kate, don't ever start smoking or drinking because you're going to be addicted. It's just some thing in them, and I could see it then. And then that week, the Serenity Prayer was in the Dear Abby thing in the paper. I cut it out and I have it in a cookbook still at home. And I think it's like the year is 91 or 93.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
We
and
were
that was
super young.
That's what I'm saying. Here's the kitchen table and your head's like this. And
Like 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah, maybe you were going to preschool, but it was something in the whole conversation because more is not better. I was going to get that on my tombstone, and I told him I told him that day. That's going on my tombstone.
That used to be like my dad's family motto, more is better,
Yeah.
in regards to money.
Yeah.
Potato chips.
Yeah,
like
right.
Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Yeah.
Like in a very G-rated, more is better. Go stream More is Better right now on all streaming platforms by Milligram. And so what was that like? That so like Jerry's mom was saying like the first time he went to treatment, it's that like, oh thank God everything's we're at the end of this thing. Like
I didn't think that till you went to Gatehouse for a year, and it was always, and that's how it is. Every time they go out, you think they're going to die.
Yeah.
And so that is hard. But, then I started looking up places to send them because if you send them too close, because the dealer's always across the street.
Absolutely.
From Talbot Hall or wherever to sell. And so I wanted to send them far away. So I had picked 2 places, one in Arizona and one in Utah, and then Matt could choose which one he was going to. Mm-hmm. And so he picked Gatehouse, and that was wonderful.
well, can we pause real quick and
Yeah.
can we talk about the slap heard around the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
want to hear about this.
Well, Matt had a car accident, a bad one, you heard,
Yeah.
in the driveway. And that was a nightmare. And then there was a settlement. So he was paying to go to recovery or whatever you call it, Gatehouse. And, but then the day before we were leaving, he was gone. And then, oh my God, where is he? I just want his ass to get out of town before he gets arrested or something. And you came home, and I said, were you out buying drugs or whatever? And you said you had Suboxone. And to me, Suboxone might as well be heroin. I have no reference in
Sure.
mind. So
Yeah,
then
sure.
I'm just so pissed. Then I start hitting him. and he has his glasses
On the driveway
on.
outside in the middle
Oh,
of the
Yeah.
afternoon.
that's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So good.
And he's going, well, all the neighbors will see. I said, you don't think they fucking know now what's happening over here? One time Joanne called me and she goes, Mary, there's kids sending 12 packs of beer in through your basement window. And we're right upstairs and
Right.
we don't hear Jack. And I run down there and there they are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Unbelievable.
I'm gonna speed through this part.
Right, right.
Okay, so you slapped the shit out of me. As I recall, I don't remember. And by this point, I'd been through like Parkside twice, maybe like Talbot Hall once.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then I could have sworn it was either Arizona or Oklahoma.
No, it
For
was
like a
it was
long-term-
Utah.
oh,
yeah,
Utah, okay.
Utah.
And you asked me, you said you're going to somewhere. You said you're going somewhere. You're going far away for a long time. You got Oklahoma or Arizona. And I go, it'd be hot in Arizona. I'll pick that one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how did you find Gatehouse?
Online, just looking online, and because I wanted a place where they lived in like individual houses, and they rotated the people around so one house wouldn't become a clique, and then
Sure.
they'd take 2 or 3 out, put them in another house, and they had some girls there. But Matt used to call them be so bent out of shape. They always had him moving rocks.
Moving rocks?
Yeah, because that was the no grass grew out there.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So, but I mean, like this, and he'd always go, they just have us moving rocks out here.
I mean, they did though.
Therapeutic.
Yeah, right.
It's one of those therapeutic.
It's like holes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
moving
I mean,
holes.
yeah, you just shovel
Yeah.
rocks into the wheelbarrow and move them from point A to point B.
It's good for you.
Yeah.
In retrospect, yes.
Yes, and they did their own cooking and cleaning. And I thought, that sounded great to me. And then we would go out every quarter, Tom and I, and Kate went once,
Yeah.
I think. For
She went
these,
once and she didn't come back.
Yeah,
She
because
thought, oh
she
shit, they're gonna leave
was,
me here.
yeah, she was active then, and but that was good for the whole family. And then they suggested we go to a organization of the parents, and we went a couple times, but I found it somewhat helpful, but I'm not the problem. Matt is.
Plainly put.
Hey, Mental Defectives.
Would you like to advertise on our podcast?
If so, email us at mentaldefectivespodcast@gmail.com.
So we can help you make a lot of money.
A whole lot of money.
I mean,
I remember in Gatehouse, I didn't see this until I'd been there like almost a full year, and you like a mentor role or something. And the
Yeah.
first time the parents would come out, we got to sit in on that meeting, and they would tell the parents like, whatever your kid's gonna be like, have a healthy weight, they're gonna be tan. We're in Arizona, they're gonna look great. Like, don't believe a fucking word they say because they've only been here 90 days. And the big thing they told the parents was like, this isn't on you. Like, it's not the parents' fault.
Right.
Of the kids
Oh,
being
yeah.
alcoholic.
Right.
And
Right.
all I remember is you being like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
You having to hang up with that at all.
Yeah,
right.
no.
No delusions there.
Yeah, because it's not like we're drinking and
Right.
doing drugs.
Right.
And, yeah.
And then, so that time, like when I was in Gatehouse, how was that to be like, oh, thank God, like he's...
Oh, yeah. Then we could have a breather. And, yeah.
Focus on my sister.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Poor Kate.
Oh my God.
So what was it
Yeah.
like after he got out? Did you notice like a big change in him, or?
Well, when Matt got out, you had to live so long in sober living out there.
6 months.
Okay, and then you and Tom got an apartment, and everything was going good. But then I think Matt started going off the rails again. Yeah, and yeah. So when he came back to Columbus in 2010, and so I flew out, and I mean we would go out and visit him during this time. Then Matt and I drove back in the U-Haul with all of his stuff in it, and
That was an adventure.
yeah.
And the thing came off, the U-Haul came off in like Illinois or something. There's like a windstorm. There's like semi trucks like jackknifed on the side of the road
shit.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we were towing my car too. That was a fucking.
A ton of snow, yeah. And I think I was getting gas, and I went too far past the tank, and so then I had to back up, and you're not supposed to back up when you're hauling a car. On just the two-wheel thing.
Yeah.
And then it all got jacked up, and then we had to wait a long time because it had been a big snowstorm. And because we're driving, and you see all these trucks with the side blown in from the wind, and they're still standing up, jackknifed on the side. We go, what happened? And we had to wait a long time.
Damn.
And I remember even when I told you guys I was going to move back to Columbus, you were super excited about it. And then I get back and things aren't exactly.
And you start using drugs again, don't you?
Yeah.
And then
We had to kick him to the curb.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
And that was hard.
Yeah, I bet it was. So he moved in with you.
Who?
He moved in with you when he came back to Columbus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you found out he was using and you said,
Yeah.
get on out.
Yeah.
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 And then you get a phone call from me February 7th of 2011
Yeah.
from jail.
Oh, yeah. He fell asleep in a car in the parking lot, and
As we
somebody
do.
called it in, and then they took you up to Marion, Delaware?
Delaware County.
Yeah. Yeah, so then we went up there. Tom went in to get him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what happened after that?
I think you guys were just like fucking over it.
Yeah.
And but by that point I knew like what to do. It was just a
Yeah.
matter of doing it.
Yeah.
And then you start going to meetings, and we would drive them. And one night, the first time I drove Matt to a meeting, it was down on Gift, near like Souter.
Yep.
And I mean, it looked like a crack house.
Yeah.
And the meeting was in the basement, and I let you out of the car because I was pissed. And then Matt turns around and says, "Avenge my death." He gets killed.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
He said, "Okay, I will."
Right.
I think that might have been a pre-gatehouse.
I don't know, but do you remember that meeting? And then I
Yeah.
would go over to like Phillips, Coney Island, and wait or
They
something.
closed that place.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that was definitely a pre-gatehouse.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause then, so then I got out of jail, and then I just started going back to like meetings and like doing the deal and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, go to Stop and Grow. Keep
Yeah.
it real.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, you've been there many a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So was that like the last hurrah there? Like you just started going to meetings after you got out of jail?
Because I had put a couple years together prior to that, so it's like I knew what
So
to
you
do.
knew the
It
deal.
wasn't
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like
Right.
just like a matter of doing it. Yeah, and then what was that time like? Because then I was still living at the house.
Right. And going to
at
school.
their house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
living at their house.
Yeah.
And I was back in school at Ohio State and going to meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
And what was that like early time like for you guys?
Kind of a relief that, you were doing it. And, and you graduated. Yeah. And, I think just we were relieved. And, well, then there's no more big ups and downs because, you're going to school and, but it was a long adventure. Yeah.
And then you have 2 kids
Yeah.
going through this basically simultaneously.
Yeah.
So then it's like,
Yeah.
you know, but we also both kind of got it together kind of at the same time initially.
Started or cleaned?
Me and Kate.
Started drugs at the same time, or
No, got clean.
yeah. That was real close. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess what's life like today with me
Oh,
as the perfect son?
heaven. No, you're living your life and doing your thing, and we can't be happier. Yeah. I mean, that's all we wanted in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I think you're happy now.
Oh yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
And then
What do you think of the podcast?
yeah.
Oh, I love the podcast.
Yeah.
And just hearing the trials and tribulations of the people, and you just can't believe what a hold the drug has on them, because in the beginning you think, say, it's a character flaw. You don't
Right.
know what is the problem, but then once you get educated somewhat, it's a disease. And and it's a vicious one.
Oh yeah.
And it gets hold of the people, and you have to work it every day.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I'm kicking myself because I forgot to ask your mom this.
Yeah.
But what's your favorite episode?
Oh, well, I like to. And I really like John Stiles.
Oh,
yeah.
Shout out to
And-
John's
John.
great.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to go to that hair thing that happens at the Lincoln Theater.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I would.
Yeah.
And then
We'll make it happen.
Dustin.
Of course,
That was
Dustin.
just.
Dustin's fantastic.
I had just seen his, and he seems so down to earth, and straight up, it's like you just can't imagine how much the people change.
Yeah.
It's
Or what somebody's gone through. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and that they still have their brain,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. and
Yeah.
quite a few of them still their looks.
Especially me.
Yeah.
And then what advice would you have for a parent dealing with a child in active addiction?
I would get help early on, and I think that's basically it. Early on, get the help, and you can't stop loving them.
Yeah, it's that same thing we were talking about with your mom about like
Right.
the enabling to tough love line is like where
Yeah.
where is that and how do you find it?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to tell the people out there?
Oh, please don't do drugs.
You heard it here first. Please don't do drugs. Wise words from a wise woman. This has been the Mother's Day special. It's the Mental Defectives. Milligram Jerry with a G. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.